Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys a Game Week 5 wildcard by AI. So the team rating is 95% and the team value is 100.2 million, so relatively affordable. In today's video I will discuss the picks that AI has gone for, talk about whether I agree or disagree with them, and also recommend some alternatives that I think AI has not considered in this draft. So hopefully those on a Game Week 5 wildcard find this video useful. If you do, please do drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here. So let's start off with defense here, and we have Verbruggen in goal. He has Nottingham Forest at home in Game Week 5, and there's Flecken on the bench as the kind of rotating keeper. So I think it's interesting that AI has picked out rotating keepers instead of going for someone like Raya, who is slightly more expensive, but Arsenal defense always something that we can back on. But the thing is, AI here has chosen to go for two 4.5 million keepers, and I think it's interesting. So I had a look at the fixture rotations, and I tend to agree with AI that the fixture rotation for Brighton and Brentford specifically are very good, at least all the way until game week 19, where from game week 20 onwards you will have your second wild card. So I think this keeper pairing can take you quite a long while, and looking deeper into the fixtures, you probably only have a couple of difficult games. I think 2 game weeks where you may have to start your keepers in difficult fixtures. So there's one for Brentford where they have Manchester United, and also Brighton would have Newcastle that week, so that would be slightly tricky to navigate. Aside from that, in game week 19 as well, there's Arsenal for Brentford, and then there's Aston Villa for Brighton. So those 2 game weeks are the only ones where I foresee you may have to take a bit of a kind of less optimal keeper choice for that week. But if not, the other weeks are pretty much a sea of green. So I do like this rotation pairing. It works quite well. Verbruggen also probably the first choice for Brighton moving forward. So I do like this keeper pairing. In terms of the defenders, there's Robertson, Pau Torres, and Porro. And then on the bench, there is 2 4.0 million defenders in Greaves and Mosquera. So I take a look at the kind of starting defenders here. Robertson, I still do agree with this pick. Liverpool fixtures are still there for the taking, and I do think like defensively, they are still a very solid side despite conceding a goal to Nottingham Forest. In fact, they actually limited Nottingham Forest to a very low expected goals in that particular game. So the fact that they conceded was pretty unlucky from that counter attack. All things said, I still back the Liverpool defense, and fixtures moving forward, at least for the next 3 to 4 game weeks, are still there for Robertson. Attacking threat is also something that he possesses, maybe not as much as Trent, but you are getting a 1 million cost saving here, so I do like this pick. Now, for Pau Torres, he is someone that I think AI has identified as just a stable 4.5 million pick. I think Konza is a perfectly fine alternative here as well. And the Aston Villa fixtures moving forward are pretty decent from a defensive standpoint. Yes, recently they've been conceding a number of goals. To Everton, they also conceded 2 goals. But I look at kind of the fixtures that they have as well as the defensive unit and how they set up. I still kind of back them to get a couple of clean sheets moving forward, and I think AI kind of tends to think that way as well. So Wolves at home for Pau Torres here in Game Week 5. I like this pick too. And this Porro pick here, Brentford at home. This would probably be my favorite one out of all the defenders, and simply because I think he's so advanced that he's pretty much due a haul. Like, I know we should never say players are due, but I look at the way that he's performing. I look at the kind of attacking threat he possesses, the crosses he's putting on into the box, the shots that he's taking, and I couple that with the fixtures that Tottenham have. I really do think like Porro is someone that I would want on a Game Week 5 wild card. Predicted points wise, he is also pretty high. Now I look at the kind of other defensive options on the bench. It is quite thin. It's Greaves and Mosquera. Both are 4 million. But I think at the minimum, they both do start. Greaves is pretty much the most nailed Ipswich defender. Mosquera also a pretty decent centre-back that has been starting pretty much every other game for Wolves. So I do like that they are stable picks, at least for the time being. And there are decent fixture runs for both of them. Greaves for Ipswich is actually pretty high up the fixture ticker now from Game Week 5 all the way until I think in Game Week 12 or Game Week 13. The fixture run for them is really good in the event you need to start Greaves. And Southampton away here is still a pretty good fixture for him. Now, Mosquera's fixture run really only turns from I think Game Week 10 onwards, where Wolves start to have a pretty good fixture run. So I think these 2 picks are kind of in preparation for the situations where you need to rotate them into your team. But if not, I think it is good enough defensive depth. Now, in terms of the last pick on the bench we haven't spoken about, it's Semenyo. So I think it's interesting that there is quite a bit of money on the bench here in terms of going for Semenyo. But I also tend to agree in the fact that from game week 6 and game week 7, Semenyo has very good fixtures that I think we will want to target from Bournemouth, who I think attackingly have shown themselves this season to be quite solid. And Semenyo, a very explosive pick as well that I kind of back. He's taken quite a number of shots, so I like that Semenyo playing for Bournemouth is in this draft. Only for game week 5 he'll be on the bench, but I do foresee that from game week 6 and 7 he would be in the team, and then after that you can look to move him on for other players that we'll speak about in the next section. So let's take a look now at the midfielders. So in midfield, there's Rodgers, Mbeumo, Saka and Salah. So speaking about the most expensive one here first, in Salah, I think it's pretty clear in game week 5, Salah is the standout captaincy option. AI probably has picked this up as well. Arsenal have Man City, so Saka and Haaland out of the equation in terms of captaincy. Then would we want to captain Palmer against West Ham, where I think Palmer's returns recently have not been very optimistic, and does not make us very confident that he'll do well against West Ham. So I take a look at the kind of fixtures for game week 5. I seriously think Salah is the standout captain, so there's not much discussion here to have in terms of having Salah in the draft. But what I think is interesting is instead of having Salah for game week 5 and then moving him on to Saka from game week 6, where Arsenal's fixture swing starts to come, I think having Saka here in the draft right beside Salah that AI has gone for is something that maybe I have not considered, but I'm quite open to it after looking at this draft. So I'll speak about Saka now. So I think Saka, he's currently yellow flagged. He came off, word is that maybe he has a bit of fatigue that he came off in the Spurs game. And also, I think moving forward later on midweek, we will see Arsenal feature in the Champions League. So in that situation, I do think like we would get some news and updates on his status for injuries. But I take a look at Saka as a pick. He hasn't blanked from game week 1 to game week 4. He has been involved in pretty much every single goal for Arsenal, whether it's providing the assist or scoring the goal himself. So I think it's pretty incredible that he's so involved in the goals, and I look at his numbers as well. It does not surprise me because he's created so many big chances, he's taken quite a number of shots as well, and in terms of creativity in providing expected assists, his numbers are really good. So I like Saka as a pick, and I think having him here in the Game Week 5 wildcard already pretty much saves you a transfer down the line, where from game week 6 onwards, you already want him in your team. I actually think he could do well against Man City, because Man City have been leaking about a couple of goals here and there in the first couple of game weeks. The first game week 1 to game week 4, they have not kept many clean sheets at all. So I think Saka could benefit there. And then I take a look at the next pick here, it's Mbeumo. So speaking about Mbeumo in terms of a larger kind of picture view, Visser is now injured. Thomas Frank has come out to say that it does not look good for Visser. He's going to be out for a couple of months. So bad news in terms of the Visser as well as Mbeumo kind of pairing that looks so good moving forward. A lot of us that were getting ready for the Brentford fixture swing were kind of keen on doubling up on Brentford attack in terms of Mbeumo and Visser. But now that that's not the case, I think it could have knock-on effects as well in terms of how will that affect Mbeumo's output. Regardless, Mbeumo's still on penalties, that still stays. Mbeumo's still a 90-minute man, clinical and good attacker for Brentford. But I think the overall attack could suffer a little bit. Now I had a look a little bit deeper and scoured a bit of the Brentford forums. So I think in terms of looking at how Brentford would deal with this Visser injury, is obviously they have to kind of find players to fill in that spot. So word is that Kevin Schade would be playing through the middle. Now all this is speculation. We need to see a bit of how Brentford play moving forward to kind of get confirmation. But Kevin Schade through the middle is what we were expecting, and then either Keane Lewis Potter or Fabio Carvalho on the left. Now, both these players, you're not going to see good numbers for them. I'm flashing them on the screen right now, but you're not going to see that they have put up very convincing numbers because they have not gotten a lot of starts in the first few game weeks. Kevin Schade is the one that maybe has one assist, but aside from that, not too much to shout about. It's more about jumping early now. In terms of this Kevin Schade as well as Carvalho pick, like both of them are very cheap. 5.4 for Kevin Schade and 4.8 for Fabio Carvalho. So they're very cheap. And I look at the fixtures that Brentford have moving forward is really good from game week 6 onwards. We're pretty clear of the Brentford fixture swing. So could there be a chance that either one of these players could be the double up that we go for? I think it's good to consider because in this draft, AI has not included any one of these players. And I think Semenyo being on the bench that we mentioned just now could very well be moved on to either one of Kevin Schade or Fabio Carvalho moving forward if either one of them looks like a good pick to kind of go for. So I think with these in mind, I would kind of monitor and if you guys want to take a gamble on either one of them on your game week 5 wildcard, I really don't mind it at all. If I have to pick one, I probably go for Kevin Schade, who I imagine would be the player that fills in the Vista spot, so playing through the middle, the number 9 spot. And we have seen him play there before. He's pretty decent in the kind of number 9 spot. So I like that. There's options for kind of Brentford in the cheaper midfield positions. And let's talk about the kind of cheapest midfielder now that AI has gone for, that everyone loves in the FPL community right now. It is Morgan Rogers. So I think in terms of Morgan Rogers as a pick, it divides the kind of FPL community in the fact that some people think regardless of him not returning, he's still a decent FPL option. And then there's the other kind of half of the community where they think it's very frustrating to own him, which I agree. He is blanked in the first 4 game weeks, and he's pretty much a all fart, no poop kind of a player. But I look at the numbers, and I'll flash them on the screen again. The numbers are very promising for a 5.1 million asset. Like, he starts every single game. Aston Villa's attacking numbers have been pretty decent. They are a very good attacking side, as we've seen. And Morgan Rogers, aside from the other players around him being substituted, he stays on the pitch and plays for 90 minutes. He has been getting a lot of shots away. And even in the game week 4 game, I felt he was quite unlucky to come away with nothing. So if there's a player from game week 1 all the way to game week 4 that I feel has been quite unlucky to blank every single game week, it's Morgan Rogers. So I do think the returns will be coming for him. And at least in the next 2, it's Wolves at home and Ipswich away. I think those are good fixtures where he could get some returns there. And I know we just discussed about players like Kevin Schade as well as Fabio Carvalho that some of you may be turning towards as alternatives for cheap midfielders. But for Brentford's fixtures, they have Spurs away in game week 5, and then in game week 6 is West Ham at home. So are those 2 fixtures not worse off than the Wolves at home fixture that Rogers has in game week 5, as well as the Ipswich away fixture that he has in game week 6? So I would be fine to kind of include Rogers here. So I do agree with the AI pick. I know some of you don't. And you can very well go for the Brentford picks or other kind of cheaper midfielders if you want to. But having him here in the draft as someone who is safe and stable, I don't mind it at all. So let me know what you guys think of this midfield in the comments down below. And also what you think about the Brentford situation. Who would kind of fill in the Vista spot, and would you be going for Schade, Fabio Carvalho, or even Keane Lewis Potter? Let me know down in the comments below. But let's take a look now at the forwards. So up front, it's Haaland against Arsenal. He has the vice-captain's armband for AI. And then beside him, on either side, there's Jamie Vardy, and then there's Dominic Calvert-Lewin as very cheap forward enablers. So having Haaland in the draft, I'll speak a bit about it now. I think there are a couple of drafts that I've looked at that don't have Haaland in the draft, with a plan to bring him in game week 7. But for me, I look at the game week 6 fixture, Newcastle away, and I look at the way they've been defending. I don't think game week 6 is a difficult fixture for Haaland at all. So really the only fixture that I think Haaland could kind of suffer a little bit in terms of returns is this game week 5 fixture where he has Arsenal at home. But aside from that, from game week 6 onwards, I would want him back already. So I think I tend to agree with AI here to just have him in the game week 5 draft from the get-go. Let me know down in the comments below if you are in the camp where you don't have Haaland in your game week 5 wildcard. And let me know if you are in the other camp where you have Haaland. I'd be interested to see the split for game week 5 wildcarders. Now, in terms of the kind of cheaper forwards that AI has gone for, is Jamie Vardy and his Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I do like the fact that both of them offer quite similar things, and those are what we want from FPL assets, in that the fixtures moving forward are really good. Both of them have started pretty much every game, and I look at Jamie Vardy's minutes recently. It's 2 games now that he's played 90 minutes so far. Calvert-Lewin also started pretty much every other game, and fitness has always been an issue for him, but this season it looks as if he is kind of, getting back to, the fitness levels that we want him to be at. So price-wise, very cheap. Vardy is at 5.6, Calvert-Lewin's at 5.9. So really, I think they enable the draft to be expensive elsewhere, because you look in the midfield, you have Saka and Salah. So going for these cheap forward enablers kind of allows you an expensive draft elsewhere. In terms of returns, they have been pretty impressive in the first 4 game weeks. 2 goals for Jamie Vardy, 2 goals and 1 assist for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So I think numbers wise, they have shown, as well as the Leicester attack in general and the Everton attack, they've shown that they can get returns in the first few game weeks. Coupled with the fact now that they have good fixtures moving forward, I quite like that AI has gone for these 2 cheap forward enablers. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of Jamie Vardy as well as Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Would you be brave enough to have both of them in your draft? I think longer term, when I look at the fixtures, I do kind of back that Vardy and Calvert-Lewin would get some returns moving forward. So there we go with the forward line. Vardy, Haaland and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Aside from that, when I look at this whole draft in general, I quite like the balance of it, and I think looking ahead slightly into game week 6, I would imagine that this draft would be doing Robertson to Gabriel from game week 6 onwards to kind of take advantage of the Arsenal fixture swing there. It's Leicester and then it's Southampton in game week 6 and game week 7 respectively. Home fixtures for Arsenal, you would want Gabriel there. But aside from that, I do like the kind of balance that this draft has. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of AI's draft? What are the picks that AI has gone for that you don't agree with? And also some picks you're considering to kind of put into this draft as well. But if not, I think this acts as a decent enough reference point with a Saka, Salah and Haaland draft as well. So let me know down in the comments below what you think. If not, I hope this video was useful for you. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. And I will catch you guys in more Game Week 5 content coming very soon. Bye bye.